Good Tuesday, everyone, and welcome to this edition of Conversations Daily News. I'm your host, Cyrus Webb. Glad you all could join us once again. We, of course, have your news headlines coming up on this Tuesday. We have the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and today, in an entertainment spotlight, you're being part of my conversation with actress and producer Nadege August. You definitely don't want to miss that. Enjoy today's broadcast. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with your Tuesday headlines. In national news, fully vaccinated people can gather without masks, says the Centers for Disease Control. Fully vaccinated Americans can gather with other vaccinated people indoors without wearing a mask or social distancing, according to long-awaited guidance from federal health officials. The recommendations also say that vaccinated people can come together in the same way in a single household with people considered at low risk for severe disease, such as in the case of vaccinated grandparents visiting healthy children and grandchildren. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention announced the guidance on Monday. The guidance is designed to address a growing demand as more adults have been being vaccinated and wondering if it gives them greater freedom to visit family members, travel, or do other things like they did before the COVID-19 pandemic swept the world last year. With more and more people vaccinated each day, we are starting to turn a corner, said CDC Director Dr. Rochelle Walensky. During a press briefing on Monday, she called the guidance a first step toward restoring normalcy in how people come together. She said more activities will be okayed for vaccinated individuals once caseloads and deaths decline, more Americans are vaccinated, and as more science emerges on the ability of those who have been vaccinated to get and spread the virus. The CDC is continuing to recommend that fully vaccinated people still wear well-fitted masks, avoid large gatherings, and physically distance themselves from others when out in public. The CDC also advised vaccinated people to get tested if they develop symptoms that could be related to COVID-19. The guidance was welcome news to a nation that is understandably tired of the pandemic and longs to safely resume normal activities. The CDC did not change its recommendations on travel, which discourages unnecessary travel and calls for getting tested within a few days of a trip. That could seem confusing to vaccinated people hoping to visit family across the country or abroad. In more national news, jury selection in the trial of a former Minneapolis police officer accused in the death of George Floyd was put on hold Monday while an appeals court considers whether to reinstate a third-degree murder charge against him. Derek Chauvin is also facing a second-degree unintentional murder charge and a manslaughter charge. Floyd died on May 25th after Chauvin pressed his knee on Floyd's neck while he was handcuffed on the ground, pleading that he couldn't breathe. Floyd's death sparked months of mass protests nationwide over police brutality and race. In Minneapolis and some other areas, the civil unrest spiraled into violence. Other former officers who were present when Floyd died will face trial later this year. In more national news, guilt, envy, distrust, vaccine rollout breeds mixed emotions. Before posting a selfie with her COVID-19 vaccination card on Twitter, one individual debated whether to include an explanation for why she was eligible for a shot. The first draft of the tweet had an explanation, said the 30-year-old lawyer in New York City. After some thought, she decided to leave out that her body mass index is considered obese, putting her at a higher risk of serious illness if infected. A friend who disclosed the same reason on social media was greeted with hateful comments, and the individual wanted to avoid that. The rollout of COVID-19 vaccines in the U.S. is offering hope that the pandemic that has upended life around the world will finally draw to an end. But as distribution widens in the U.S., varying eligibility rules and unequal access to the coveted doses are also breeding guilt, envy, and judgment among those who've had their doses, particularly the seemingly young and healthy, and the millions still anxiously awaiting their turn. Adding to the second guessing about who should be getting shots is the scattershot feel of the rollout and the sense that some might be gaming the system. Faced with a patchwork of confusing scheduling systems, many who aren't as technically savvy or socially connected have been left waiting, even as new swaths of people become eligible. In business news, Yellen plays down inflation fears, but pushes relief bill. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen says fears that the administration's $1.9 trillion relief bill could trigger a rapid rise in inflation are misplaced. In an interview on MSNBC on Monday, Yellen said the measure, which will provide $1,400 checks to millions of Americans, along with other assistance, will provide needed relief and help the economy return to full employment by next year. And finally, in entertainment news, 17.1 million watched Royals' interview with the Queen of Talk, Oprah Winfrey. Oprah Winfrey's explosive interview with Prince Harry and Meghan reached an estimated 17.1 million viewers in the United States on Sunday. That's according to preliminary numbers from the Nielsen Company. Winfrey guided the two as they discussed racism and dysfunction inside the royal family in a 2-hour special on CBS. Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. It's now time for the Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich. Mary Ellen, it's all yours.
Hi, this is Mary Ellen with your Truth of the Day. Words and thoughts are limited. Your thoughts are limited to the vocabulary you have and your life experiences. The truth about life, about anything, is without limits. Truth simply is. Truth is not changeable or relative. You cannot hide from truth, for there is nothing to hide from. And you cannot defend truth, as there is nothing to defend. Truth is a simple statement. It can be a fact, yet not all facts are truths. For example, 2 = 4 is a truth. It will never change. 2 apples plus 2 apples will always give you 4 apples. Yet a statement such as the sky is blue is not a truth. We see the sky as blue because that is the color being reflected back to us from our atmosphere. When a fact is changeable, it is not a truth, as a truth never changes. To the extent you have to defend something, it is not a truth. When someone says something to you and you feel uncomfortable with what they said, do not defend it. Sit with the uncomfortable feeling and understand the truth about yourself and what you need to learn. Today, take a truthful look at yourself. Enjoy the day.
Nadege August is featured in today's Entertainment Spotlight. We're here on Conversations Daily News. For Conversations Daily News, I'm Cyrus Webb with the Entertainment Spotlight. Actress and producer Nadege August told me recently on Conversations Live, the radio show, it's been great to do work that she loves and to share it with the world. Here's a bit of our conversation. What has it been like for you, especially for the past 5 years, to be able to reflect on your work and how you got to where you are today?
I must say, it's a little surreal. You know, you get into this work because it's something that you love. You must have heard this quite often. People always tell you when you're starting out, if there's something else you can do, please go do that instead. You know, like people are like, I will pay you to go do something other than act, because it is a very, very challenging life. But, you know, when you are driven and you know your why and you stick to it, you show up, and the work speaks for itself if you are committed. I've done everything from stage work, and I still do that, and television series where I've been a guest quite often, pilots that didn't get picked up, and now to just, you know, see this where it came from, of all places. It's just amazing. I'm still a little in shock, quite frankly.
And I love the fact, too, that you have not been afraid to trust your own voice, Nadege. And I think that's one of the things we talk about a lot on this program, the importance of realizing where your power is and embracing that. When did you first realize it? When did you realize that you had something that you wanted to share?
I think I got a few glimpses of it when I was a kid, when I was 14, and realized this is something I wanted to do. I just didn't have a name for it. Gotcha. And you know, and then just seeing the impact of what your performance or has on an audience, their reaction, and it's usually genuine because people are pretty honest.
Cyrus Webb, Conversations Daily News. Well, thank you all for tuning in to this edition of Conversations Daily News. We'll be back with you guys on tomorrow with more news, Truth of the Day with Mary Ellen Ciganovich, and of course your Entertainment Spotlight. Until then, I'm your host, Cyrus Webb, saying as always, enjoy your day, enjoy your life, enjoy your world. Thank you all for choosing Conversations Daily News today. Let's make it a great one.